Christian McCaffrey said earlier this week, it sucks. I wish we would have had a healthy quarterback. It just feels like something was stolen from you. I hope both teams lose. I watched it. He wasn't saying the win was stolen. He was saying the opportunity was stolen, but still. Deebo Samuel, multiple interviews. Here's a little sampling of some of the things Deebo said at Radio Row. We knew when we lost both QBs, what are we going to do? I wish we'd taken one more QB into the game, and it probably would have been a different outcome. So Deebo thinks with a third quarterback, they could have won the game. He also said, in the nicest way,
Deebo, who?
Those two thoughts actually were not connected. He just thinks they could have won.
Put it on your pro personnel hat. Could you give me a name? Because I saw that quote. I was like, who's the third guy, Deebo?
Deebo said, in the nicest way, we didn't really get to see how good the Eagles defense was, if that makes sense. We had them schemed up and we had them dialed up. He went on to say in another interview, we were going to attack their DBs all game long. They're quick to trigger on certain stuff that they see on film. So we had stuff out of what we know that we knew they would bite on. And then he went into some specifics. So are the 49ers sore losers?
I think they're getting lumped. I talked to Schwartz last night. I think people that think that feel like they're speaking like this, and the game was a missed field goal at the end. Remember when the Bears kicker clanked it and then went on Good Morning America the next day? There's a level of you lose a fair and square game. I don't think they would be talking like this. They would be mad that I just think this is the most unique thing we've ever seen. Deebo said that not just Kyle, who's 43, his father, who's 75, told him, I've never seen anything like that. Now, if you wanted to push back and point the finger at the Shanahan family, we can do some of that on the way that all transpired. I just like one apology. But I don't view this as just a normal loss. Now, that does not, I also think that they're not saying we would have won. If they said that, I'd be like, don't. They're just saying we just wanted a fair shot. Because I think they think that their game plan was fucking sweet. That's what they believe. And they talked, Deebo mentioned that. I saw McCaffrey mention that. Defensively, clearly they had, I talked to a buddy on the Eagles that was like, they had a pretty, dropping those guys back. It was the opposite. Remember when they got blown out by the Chiefs? It's why do they keep running up the field? They stopped. They did the opposite of that, and it was throwing the Eagles off. And it was 7-7. I saw Portnoy was I'd be bitter. The game was tight. This wasn't everyone acting, 31-7. Yeah, I mean, it became that when no one could throw, and Josh Johnson dropped a fucking fumble. But it was 7-7, not that far away from halftime.
Yeah, dropped a snap, fumbled a snap.
Now, it was 14-7. The Eagles had scored. The Eagles are good. The other thing is no one's acting like the Eagle people. To me, the players are not talking like the Eagles weren't some legit foe. They were they're a legit foe. We were a legit foe. We just wanted our shot, and we didn't get it.
Yeah. So
I get how it sounds but I actually don't, because it's not. They're not acting like this is a normal loss.
I do get how it sounds, but because it has veered a little close to we were gonna win. Deebo and Ayuk think they were gonna win because they think the game, in their minds, the game didn't get played, and
they hadn't lost in 13 games.
Yeah, going into the game, they thought they were gonna win, and in their minds, the game didn't get played. Here's what I would say, and what I have said to people: it's been a week and a half. To me, you're allowed to still be wearing it emotionally a week and a half later. The 49ers are in mourning, and that's allowed. I do think big picture, they better not spend their whole offseason thinking they were just unlucky, though. I don't think it'd be healthy for them to, by the time we get to next season, they're still walking around thinking they should have won the Super Bowl. I don't think that's a good way to process it either. Big games, and the Niners are playing a bunch of them, come down to one or two big plays that we remember. Last year, the NFC Championship game, Kowalski Tart not intercepting a ball. The Super Bowl against the Chiefs, a missed throw to Emmanuel Sanders, and a big throw made by the Chiefs. The NFC title game that they just played in actually was no different, in the sense that it just happened that the one big play happened in the first quarter instead of the fourth quarter. But they ran the play. They called the play. They ran it poorly, and it failed, which is exactly what happened when they ran the ball to threw the ball to Emmanuel Mosley. They called the play. They ran the play. They failed on the play. They lost the game. It just so happened that the big play this time was early, not late. But this wasn't like they tried to kick a game-winning field goal. It hit Jerry Jones's big board and they had to re-kick it and then they missed it. Like, they ran a play, a legal play. Nobody cheated. Nobody got away with a penalty. And the play they ran failed because they failed. So I got no problem with anything they've said. To me, it's not sore loser category. But I think it's a little dangerous to spend your whole offseason thinking, like, we got screwed. Maybe you lost and you should have had. I hope they don't process it as like, yeah, we should have won the Super Bowl. And then, oh, well, we're unlucky. Woe is me. Maybe it can be a motivating factor.
But to me, though, this is, you're paying a head coach $12 to $15 million. Like, by the time training camp comes, it's on him to kind of set the message and just restart it. So, like, I am putting that on the coach. Like, ultimately, it's coach player. Like, you're kind of led by the message, and Kyle's good at that. Like, I'm fine, or like I'm pretty confident that he'll be able to, get that. They also play the Eagles next year.
That's good.
I think it's in San Francisco too, or Santa Clara or whatever. But
yeah, that's fine. I got no problem with it. That's just my warning, and I think you're probably right. But that would be my warning. Like, use it as motivation that you feel like you should have won the Super Bowl, not an excuse.
I think here's the thing, though, and this is a natural, just part of the sport is, and Bosa talked about this after, like, what sucked is, like, this team's never going to be this team again.
Yeah.
Right. In baseball, you could roll back a roster, like have a loss in the NLCS, and 24 of the 25 guys are back on your squad. Like, in football, there's at minimum 25, 30%. And we've already seen the list of free agents, and there's just a natural, implementation of guys that you draft. I got 75 third-round picks and some random undrafted free agents, and then who knows, maybe Danny Gray emerged. Like, you just get new elements of the team every year, right? Now, your core guys are the core guys, and those you're going to win the Super Bowl or not, because ultimately, right, Trent, Debo, Kittle, Ayuk, Fred, Armstead, like that you're going to go as they go. But Omenahu is now Drake Jackson, Elijah Mitchell, maybe he's just never anything, and Ty Davis Price emerges. Maybe they trade Juwan Jennings for something and Danny Graham, it's just, that's
D'Amico Ryans is gone.
Maybe they fucking, one of their third round picks, they take Grammatica's son. He's their new kicker. You just have all these, it's just a natural.
Wait, is there a Grammatica son?
No, that'd be cool.
Oh.
I just, I didn't know, I tried to make a funny joke with the kicker, but that's just the only thing. But there's a chance, like, Robbie Gould's not there. Like, they're just core elements, like Jimmy Ward. Like, they were just, Deshaun Gibson said that Hufunga's like his favorite human alive. Like, does that mean you're just going to re-sign for $1 million? You see that quote?
No, I didn't.
So I think they'll be fine. Ultimately, they're going to win and lose because of health, right? When they're healthy, clearly they are a Super Bowl contender. Like, that information's set. When they're healthy, their organization now finding new guys. Like, they now have proven a couple straight years of just being able to plug holes, random guys. Obviously, there's a level of, like, 19's defensive line's better than this one, but still, like, this one's more than good enough, right? They can just find part of, like, the pass rushers that you would like to be a little bit better opposite. They're kind of random, Arden Keys and trading for Omenahus, and like,
right.
they're getting the scrap heap,
And they've shown that it works.
Yeah, they've had a really high level, to me, 2-year run from a team building personnel making moves. Like, if they were a baseball operation, they'd be like, this fucking operation is rolling.